And we're off.
Heart container in that first chest. We'll see if that's a sign of things to come if we'll get a lot of health this seed.
Yep. A quick med check. We have crystal 6 on Hera. I think the rest is regular.
Xirtanul heads up to Uncle Moment of Truth. It's gonna be bombs! Here we go.
Nice. So going through the first part escape, you need at least 5 bombs. So a little trivia there, that bomb capacity upgrade is coming a little late because if you had that before talking to Uncle will fill up to 15 bombs.
I do not think I knew that. That is a nifty little thing to have.
But no one in their right mind would go open that chest before talking to Uncle.
For sure, but yeah, so on the bright side, the one nice thing about having these bombs, as long as they don't miss with a bunch of them, is that they will guaranteed have a bomb in order to open the back area of the sewers for the last 3 chests.
Speaking of missing a bunch of them, Gemini has a better job of using the chest and statue as a run around.
Getting 1 bomb drop, Xirtanul does, heading around to this area of escape, so making up for at least one of those misses. So there's only 1 bomb down from Gemini at this point. And that fairy was trolling Xirtanul a little bit there.
The good thing about using the statue and chest as a blocker is that it almost always works.
So the only thing they need bombs for at this point is the rat at the end of the sewers in order to get the last key drop, I believe. So yeah, as long as Xirtanul doesn't have trouble finding the right mouth, we should be fine bombs-wise here.
Yep. Although that rat is usually significantly harder to bomb than the guards. Usually people just walk the bomb into them.
It's very true. Both of these runners having full health, that might not be that much of an issue. But yeah, still, as I mentioned, bombs are just really rough to deal with, and just you have such small amount of ammo, and like just the timing can be so rough.
Nathaniel still forming the guards. He might want a little more bombs for the rest of the escape. Maybe Kakuko too.
It's a totally understandable decision. Do you know at this point, have we seen the map for escape yet? I'm not sure if I missed it or not.
Yep, it's right beside Zelda.
Okay, so that means all the chests we will be seeing all the way through the sanctuary will all be something interesting, like the cape.
That's something you never want to find early. Because that strongly singles agonyms.
Gemini grabs that key handily and is able to move on here, and we'll see what these last 3 chests in the back of Escape are going to be. And we got a sword, an arrow capacity upgrade, and 50 rupees. That sword definitely is a great find. But it is one step closer to Aghanim being open, though.
And he has 3 bombs for Carico. That's enough all the way to a chicken hut, and the bomb shot is right next to that. Meanwhile, Nathaniel only has 1 bomb in his hand. He's going to need to route his Carico a little differently.
And Sanctuary with just a heart container, for good measure, giving just a little more health for these runners.
A single rupee on tier 2.
And Bush Crab's got a full magic drops. That'll be a nice little refill for them. And Xirtanul here actually opting to not do a lumberjack check. Unfortunately, on Gemini's screen, I didn't quite see what was on there.
Yeah, neither do I. That was such a fast track.
Just a red rupee so far in the woods here inside this drop. 10 arrows, so nothing too exciting out here in this area yet.
More arrows on the tier 1 triple, so if they're running out around Gans Tower, they can use that. You can pull on Turtle Rock.
That is actually some good knowledge to have. And I missed where it happened, whereas Xirtanul now has 9 bombs, so somewhere along the line they got some 8 bomb drop, it would seem.
Yep, looks like it.
Just money and love so far in this Blind's basement. One last chest here we'll be checking. It's going to be another heart container.
So in the MNG scenario, this is the amount of heart you go into the dark world, so I think player will be very comfortable with this amount of hearts early.
For sure. There's 20 rupees so far down in the well. And 20 more. And flippers. Probably the most interesting thing we found in the Kakariko area so far.
Yep, compared to a lot of nothing in the other chest.
What do you think? Is 100 rupees a good deal for a single arrow?
Maybe if you get well made and can hang it on your house for decoration, maybe.
Well, until they get the bow, they will be holding on to that arrow for quite some time, so they might cherish it. But yeah, I don't think I'd spend that much. So in the end, Gemini is the one that ends up having to visit the shop real quick to get a bomb refill. It's a little flip from what we might have initially anticipated with earlier bomb counts, but it happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Looks like a big old 20 on the library. And having now bombs, xirtanul is going straight into the racing game.
In just 20 rupees, both runners decide it's not worth grabbing, but a Gemini not even going into the race actually gets a little time back after that bomb shop visit.
So there's absolutely nothing but the flippers in Carico, and we're like 380 rupees short from Zora's. This is looking a little tough right now.
Yeah, I think that might be like the most worthless Kakariko I've ever seen, with like flippers really being the only point of interest. But it looks like the water of this dam has stained that sword in there blue, and they got themselves a nice little blue Master Sword.
Yep.
I guess someone must have spilled some food coloring in that in the dam.
So we're on to the Minimodon Cave.
Hammer, tempered sword, red cane, heart container, piece of heart. Wow, that's quite a mini Moldorm cave.
Yep.
So we still gotta find a lift upgrade in Moon Pearl if these runners want to be able to avoid Aghanim.
And Chad brings up a good point. They cannot hooligan right now because the flipper setup is locked because they have the flipper list, and without glove they cannot lift the rock to the sanctuary setup. And what? Vanilla?
I know, I was thinking the same thing. Ice Rod in Ice Rod Cave, who would have thought? I thought this was Randomizer. We got some... I was going to say we might have some divergence, but it looks like Gemini is just taking an altered path into the swimming area there. Just getting to see what's on that Lake Helia Island. Just 20 rupees.
Yep. The sea doesn't give the runners a lot to do right now.
And that's 300 rupees closer to Zora.
Yep. Just what I need.
So these runners probably hoping to find some little extra cash here in the waterfall fairy chests.
And the Xirtanul needs 100 of that, while Gemini needs 150.
Or just a lift upgrade, because why not in a heart container?
Yep, and with this less damage we feel less as the sanctuary heart container. So with the lift upgrade, I can do the sanctuary hula setup.
And with only 10 hours on the Zora Ledge, both runners save and quit. We'll see at what point, if any, do these runners take the time to make their way back up to Zora.
Yep, so we're searching for that moon pearl for our dark pearl SS now.
And it is worth noting, until we find the lamp, Aghanim is not accessible yet, so just, like, these runners could technically gamble on it being Aghanim required, but they'd have to deal with some dark rooms through there. And there's the book in the back of Sahasrar's hut.
Giving the light will run around there. From eastern to desert, what's next? Hytera?
Probably get the lamp in. Well, they would need lamp and then mirror hookshot, I guess, and they could get up there.
So this makes it sounds like crystal.
Yeah, and in that first chest we got the big key. That means there's a decent chance we might not have to go through the dark room to get to the vanilla big key chest, but we'll see depending on the layout of the items here. Hopefully we don't see map or compass, so we'll just grab the 3 items and then be able to piece out of here pretty quickly.
Yep. That's your first item, a big old 20.
And without sword beams, both runners are going to have to opt to using the pots to get rid of the skeletons here. Nice quick way to keep that room fast.
And looks like yep, that's the compass. We're going to the big key chest.
$50 rupees in the big chest, so if we find map in the vanilla big key chest, we will be leaving an item behind on Armos Nights.
Yep. And if Gemini wants, he can go to the back for that rupee room. He's only 21 short, while Xirtanul has already enough money for Zora.
For sure. My thought is, with the entirety of like the bottom of desert open, I would think Gemini would expect to get enough money, but it is very possible, and if you're very concerned about money, it's definitely worth considering visiting that little back room.
And you don't have to kill any icons to go to that room too.
And a heart piece in that last chest. So Armos Knights only having the map today along with the crystal, so likely won't be seeing Eastern Palace for quite some time now, until they're ready to just go back and go mode it later.
Yep. And with that book from Sahasra, both runners take the hint and go into the desert area. With a glove, Gemini can also find the rubies he needs here in one visit.
And so between, was it Agina's Cave, Desert Ledge, and then they can get 0, 1, or 2 items in Desert, depending on the layout of the items in the dungeon.
Yep.
But unless Zora is where the payout is for this seed, I believe one of those locations has to be something.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's your payout.
Yep, the something today in the Desert Ledge is Moon Pearl.
Which means we'll be leaving Agnum alone today until 7 crystals.
Indeed. Alright, so with a compass in that first chest, that means there's going to be some type of key on the torch up here. And Gemini not having boots realizes it's not even worth checking for the time being because it doesn't matter. Same with xirtanul too. They're just going to get their Moon Pearl and head out of here. Yeah, given that they have hammer and gloves, they can enter the Dark World at either in a number of places. Most likely by Thieves Town or maybe right above the swamp area. Which one do you think you go to first? Or actually, with the gloves they have access to desert too. I forgot about that.
Is he stealing a key? He's stealing a key! The madman!
That's interesting. To answer my question, it sounds like Gemini's going for the Hype Cave Dark World entrance here.
Yep. And the Dark World med check, a part is a pendant, so it's swamp. Skulls is our green pendant.
And Misery Mire was our other red crystal. And to start off Hype Cave, we got Ether, and there's Hookshot, Blue Cane, 300 rupees.
And boots.
Boots is the last one. Wow, what a cave.
Yep, that's 11 out of 10. Look at this pendant there. This reminds me of Seed, where the Titan Smith is on pedestal.
Oh, that would be terrible. And that heart piece in the big chest and xirtanul's little adventure of key stealing from upstairs desert, and will be making their first entrance into the Dark World in the same location, it would seem.
And getting the same payout.
Gemini's putting those boots to good use. Just a green rupee in the bunk rocks, though.
Gemini is going straight up to the pet check because with this pendant layout, the pedestal is really suspicious.
Indeed, let's see what we got.
Have a better defensive bundle. That's a shield upgrade. I don't think the runners would need that.
You'd be correct. The only logic reason the game would expect you to grab that is if they want you to have the mirror shield for laser bridge, but with both cape and blue cane, not even the game thinks you need that.
Yep.
And Gemini skipping Skullwoods for now, heading straight to Village of Outcasts. There's only 2 items in Skullwood, so I get why to skip it. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing interesting in the chest game there.
Yep. I might want to go back to school when I want to do the north route. That's after the mirror. The tunnel is giving us the divergence sequence breaking up to Death Mountain. We might see what's up there to decide what's our Death Mountain SS.
And definitely an interesting choice. With how many non-sequence break options they have, I'm wondering if they're like doing a gamble here, or is this like something that they consider pretty normal? It's definitely a slightly more unique play, I believe. What will be interesting is if we find lamp or flute up here, because that will tell us which one the game expects us to use to get up here, because you need one or the other to logically have access. So if the flute's up here, lamp can't be up Death Mountain, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Blue Mail waiting up here on Spectral Rock.
And Bloomerang inside, so a very blue Spectacle Rock today. So far, I don't think we've seen anything too interesting in Thieves Town.
Yup.
And there's the lamp on Eastern Death Mountain, so that flute is not going to be up here.
Okay, and that means the Tenok is gonna be able to beat Hera when it's up here too, guaranteed.
And with a couple of bottles in xirtanul's pocket now, definitely that puts Sick Kid in logic, so we'll see at what point they opt to head there to see what Sick Kid's offering for a bottle.
Maybe after they found the flute, because Sick is technically still behind the flute for now.
Very true, as is that shovel up on that island up top of that mountain.
Yep. We're still a little long way from Shadow. We still need 2 items before that.
And, 50 rupees from that tablet, and let's see what's in this Thieves Town big chest. It's the fire rod.
Oh.
So these runners both at 1 fire source apiece. I'm sure both of them will end up heading in each other's directions at some point to pick up the others, though. A heart container and a small key means xirtanul over here is going to be heading to the basement. Good thing they found that lamp.
Yep. Gemini's plan is a little off script. In Greenmail, the main body is 2, so he's be careful. Got it.
So Gemini grabbing their first crystal at 32 minutes in here.
Not the worst. The last match I comped, the first crystal was at 50 minutes.
Oh wow! And we can see over here, xirtanul setting up for a death warp after getting the big key out of this basement chest. Really smart thing to do to save some time to get back upstairs.
Yep. Gemini for going skulls altogether. Going straight to Bumbles.
That's definitely worth grabbing, as neither of these runners know what the medallions are for entering either Total Rock or Misery Mire.
Yep. And can be a decent weapon in a pinch. It's just a little slow.
And 10 arrows in that big chest in Hera, so that's, I believe, all the items we'll be seeing in here.
Yep, that's all too.
And now Gemini. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Gemini going to go. He's hoping both items is on the front half, so he does not going to need to go to the muscular half. Because since he already checked, since his predator is already dead, only thing he can get from muscular is the green pendant.
I must say, even with, like, if both of the items are in the front of Skullwoods, that green pendant looks at least a little bit enticing. Be a bit of a pain to get, but worth considering nonetheless. A whole lot of nothing in this Skullwoods front area. We got a spike cave check going on here.
Instead of spiral.
Well, that's definitely got to solve the rest of xirtanul's money problems now, having about 1,500 rupees here, it looks like. Almost.
Yeah, I remember like 20 minutes ago where we were still worrying about money for Zora. Not anymore.
So Gemini deciding it's good to worth going to Mothula here. Do you know were there no items in any of the front locations for Skullwoods?
I don't think I see any.
I think I missed just one chest, that last one that he used the red cane for. It might have just been a key though, but got the pedestal check on xirtanul's side as well, now confirming for their sake that the pedestal dream is dead.
And a quick easy muscle of fighting is that Tempest Sword. Got a big 20. So according to chat, Gemini got a heart piece in the Samaria block chest, so that's both items. He's not going to do the runaround.
Good to know.
So where would you go next if you were Gemini?
That is a tough decision. My thought right now is, yeah, knowing that the lamp, knowing that Death Mountain is flute locked. My thought is that Gemini has got to find the flute pretty darn soon here. With there only being one location in desert, I'm not. Well, it is a crystal, so it makes sense to go here. I might have at least considered a few more overworld locations, though I'm not. I can't remember if Gemini did a shovel game and all that yet.
He did a shovel game, so the only overall option I remember is Pyramid and Catfish, which does not sound appealing, and maybe check which part is locked or not.
Yeah, there's those in Zora, so yeah, definitely this desert play, now that it's clearable and it's going to have a crystal for you. You're going to have to do it at some point. Might as well do it now. One other place they could have considered heading is possibly Pod as well. Without Lamp, a lot of the dark rooms aren't in logic, although I'm expecting if Gemini doesn't find that lamp for a while, they're likely pretty confident in dark rooms all the same.
And so Daniel dipping his goals first. He's going to find out he might want to come back later because he's missing one item, and Fire is right here in Steve's town.
So at this point, we're seeing a lot of each runner retracing a little bit of xirtanul's retracing Gemini, tracing Gemini steps a bit, while Gemini's just doing a nice little climb here. While we're waiting for something new, any thoughts where you think the flute might turn out to be?
It's tricky, you know. I don't think we'll really still have a lot of locations. I think we only have Pyramid, Catfish, and Zora alternate models here. I'm not sure.
I think we got those or pods, or probably it's either we're gonna find that soon or maybe Titan's Mitt, and that'll open a whole bunch of stuff that could lead to Fluke.
Yeah, I would really entertain the idea of visit back to Zora now.
And that's rough if it's at Zora, because I'd imagine both of these runners are probably waiting for possibly Mirror to route Zora in with Catfish. So if they don't find Mirror before like checking that, they might be stuck not getting that item, like getting anything interesting from Zora for a while, if there's anything good there. So let's see what Gemini opts to do here. This is probably where we start finding some new information, some interesting plays. So heading east, maybe gonna turn in that green pendant.
Maybe.
I think they'll route in pod while they're over here as well.
Finding bombs on Sahasra.
So saving and quitting, it looks like we might be seeing... I was gonna get to sequence break here, but not quite sure yet.
And looking at the xirtanul's menu, he has a red crystal, so that means Hera would be our next Author 5-6 crystal.
Yep, and it looks like, yeah, Gemini is making that sequence break play we saw earlier on xirtanul's side here.
Sadly, not gonna find anything but lamp, which is only information.
I mean, they know they have access to Hera as well. Like, and they know they have a fire source, so even if they didn't find the lamp, they know they can clear Hera and get another crystal. So, since to Gemini, this is just in logic for their abilities, and they're able to get the crystal. So why not go up here?
Yeah, and the most item dense as well. The rest of the world is mostly one-offs.
Yeah, the only like in logic, somewhat dense location is pod. The problem is without bow, that eastern side isn't even accessible, and Gemini didn't even have a bottle to put a potion in to do the potion glitch if they wanted a sequence break that right side.
You will get one now, but
Yeah, just too little, too late. A good use of that blue cane to avoid death as blind is down.
yep.
So that was a red and a green potion in Paradox Caves, so nice little Christmas potions there.
Also, if I remember right, xirtanul did not check Spiral Cave when he's up there, so we might see that from Gemini.
That is very true, and if that's something big, that at this point to xirtanul is a very out-of-the-way location, so hopefully they'll remember to check it at some point. The problem becomes if they're waiting to get Titan's Mitts to route it in with Dark Eastern Death Mountain, and if the Titan's Mitts is in there, they won't be able to get to Dark Eastern Death Mountain. That's the risk of leaving locations behind sometimes.
Besides, now it's going with that fireball in hand. It's going back to beat Masula. We know it's nothing, but it's very logical for him to think that it's something here.
And Gemini are realizing they have to head to the basement here. Get to take a quick little break.
To regroup, let's start on where to go after Hera.
Little scare for a second. They're running low on magic, but a couple of drops and using the lamp is able to get through. And another real quick Mothula kill. Both of these runners are very impressive on that fight.
Yep.
And one other place that we haven't checked yet, I just see it being mentioned in chat, is a Sick Kid. No one's paid him a visit yet.
True, but that place is technically behind Blues right now, so maybe they want to find this first before taking the visit, and to activate the flute as well. So the runners are really tracing each other's footsteps now, so it's a good time to remind you, if you like this race, remember to follow runners, and shout out to our tracker Space Cowboy, and our restreamer, NoName4444.
For sure, all these people are what keep these tournaments going. Obviously, we need the runners, and then the restream and tracker is what keeps us together while we're commentating on it. Gemini doing Spike Cave as well, so we'll be having another Spiral Cave skip here. So with that, I think Gemini is caught up with everything xirtanul has done, so this might be some new information for us, depending on where they opt to go.
Yep, I think they finally done the same thing as each other right now.
So heading into the Dark World here by Hype Cave, looking for a Palace of Darkness play possibly. Ooh, it could be Catfish or Pyramid as well.
Yeah, I'd go to Pyramid and Catfish first before going to Pot. Maybe do the potion glitch while you're there.
And that's Titan's Mitts on Pyramid Ledge.
It's waiting here since the Dark World exists all along. So up to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Gemini says, forget Catfish, forget Pot, I'm heading back to Death Mountain.
Yep, let's Dark Death Mountain, and 2/3 of chance is going straight into Turtle Rock and full clear. Although those are still behind Flute, so Flute still at large. Even though it's a lot of icon sequence break, it's still a lot of icon locations, so really can't blame runners for checking that.
And I cringe just a little bit as I see Gemini walk past Spiral Cave one more time. I know there's a lot more to be checking in the Dark World, but just knowing that there's a chest, like, right next to them, and they're not taking the time to check it, because now they're in Dark World, they don't have Mirror to go back into the Light World. They won't be checking it anytime soon now.
Yep. The other thing is they need to go into Dark World on this portal if they want to open Turtle Rock without a mirror as well, so that mirror is really counting up on everything.
We're heading into this Super Bunny Cave. Oh, and it looks like we got a pod check, so some more divergence, and we don't know what either of these runners are going to find in their next few chests now. This is going to be interesting. Arrow Upgrade, yep. And Red Rupee in Super Bunny Cave. Just bombed so far in Hookshot Cave, a Red Rupee. There's a key in the first chest in Pod, so it's not bow locked. There's a heart piece in Hookshot Cave and a red boomerang.
So check brings out a point at this point. Ice Palace is also open, which is another full clear book dungeon. But maybe the runners want to do Gemini want to do in the go mode.
That is very true. Ice Palace Go mode is much nicer compared to full clear Ice Palace. The same cannot be said about Turtle Rock. It's not that much more to full clear Turtle Rock versus Go moding it.
But he is opening a lot of locations doing Turtle Rock first, though, like Spiral Cave and Mid Cave without the mirror. So
that is very true.
And the shovel as well. There's already one guaranteed offering the item. So with 4 small keys here, we know the back side is not bow locked.
Just a blue rupee and a key here in this roller room. And we found our first shield upgrade.
So the dark basement is behind Flute, so we'll see what he finds here. Ooh. So it
That
looks
is a
like,
rough death.
yep, it looks like big key is on the right side of pot, so no big chest for him. Excited he's going to be united with his Titan Smith soon. We'll see where does that take him. Going straight to catfish. So Mitch's gonna wait for a little more.
Oh, nope, doubling back. And Gemini in this room again with 3 hearts has to be really careful.
Yep. I think last time the skull took him down.
And there's xirtanul's Titan's mid at 57 minutes.
And he's for going catfish as well.
And Gemini's got the silvers from that vanilla big key chest in T-Rock.
And notably, if xirtanul is going to go Motor Rock, he's going to miss that.
I was thinking the same thing. That could be a real game changer there.
They're going straight to Ice Palace for the full clear.
And there are 3 items that they can find in here, so this could pay off pretty big.
Yep, and everything is in logic for once.
Gemini coming up on a laser bridge here with decent amount of magic, but only 3 hearts, so we're gonna have to be a little careful.
Just take a safety door. Maybe not. Maybe just mirror back to Mimic Cave now.
They're grabbing that safety door. Yeah, that mirror is huge in that first chest.
So that's a big find. That opens up swamp. That gives tells me Swamp is behind the flute, and also all the shovel stuff is also behind the flute, which would also mean that Mirror is likely going to be a Gomo item for xirtanul, other than the bow.
Yeah, well, with Swamp Palace being a pendant, we don't need the mirror for Gomo, but I guess it is possible for mirror to lead to something else.
Oh yeah, I misread. I keep thinking Swamp. So they're missing bow and flute is not going to be up here.
Yeah, so it becomes interesting if mirror ends up leading to something like inside Swamp or Checkerboard Cave, because then if Go Mode is in one of those mirror locked locations, then we're going to have to see xirtanul climb Turtle Rock before getting to Go Mode. At this point, is it just Ice Palace, Catfish, and Zora that could be the flute based on kind of the knowledge we have, or any item that we find in any of those locations leading to flute?
Yeah, it sure sounds like that.
We'll see if a Gemini with mirror in hand takes the time to finally check Spiral Cave.
Oh yeah, and Spiral Cave. That cannot be the bow either, because that's also behind flute.
It could be bow possibly. Like the only thing it can't be is flute.
Yeah, this Squidward is giving me a headache.
Yeah, like I always hear stories of like getting all like a little confused if you do a sequence break, having to keep track of where can some items be and some not. And this one, just how much they've been able to get to skipping the like logic expected them to have the flute, but they've gotten so much without it that like it's hard to keep track of where can the flute be compared to what do I actually have access to.
So nothing in Spiral, so xirtanul did not miss much.
That was just arrows in iced tea there. This pod play we're seeing on Gemini's side. Looking like it.
Yep, looking like it.
And xirtanul low on magic. Good thing they have Bombos to get past this first phase on Cold Stare.
Gemini pondering, do I really want to pod? Oh, xirtanul taking a puff in his face, losing his last 4 hearts, taking death in Ice Palace.
That is rough. At the very least, they can Ice Palace bomb jump their way to back to Cold Stare, but dying on that boss is definitely never fun.
You still need to find some magic. I mean, they will get enough magic to cast bombos.
I haven't been tracking their bottle consumption too much. I know they did grab that green potion from Paradox Cave. Xirtanul might still have it.
They just used it on that the first cold stair fight.
Oh, they did, and they ran out of magic afterwards? Oh, wow, that's rough.
Yeah, he used that to spin a few fire rock shots.
Yeah, without half magic, that magic meter drained so fast with the fire rod. And not doing the bomb jump, which, since they have the red cane and the big key already, actually makes a lot of sense. Saves some health from having to explode yourself over the gap, and you can still make your way to the boss fairly quickly.
Yep, bomb jump on red green mail costs 1 heart. Wow, Gemini hitting that bomb jump without lining up vertically with a sword. Impressive.
I'm liking that he's taking the time to grab that little extra bit of magic. That's actually one of those locations that you don't, like one of those rooms you see rarely visited. And honestly, I didn't even know there was magic under those pots for Xirtanul there, but definitely a nice way to come into this cold star fight just a little more equipped.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you can't lecture Cold Stare to death with that book. Pulled it out trying to get there instead of missing bombos.
It's the first spin this time.
Getting his revenge.
So Ice Palace is empty. So that's left with Catfish and Sora.
Yeah, either of those have to be flute or something that leads us to the flute.
The latter rock will come into a little advantageous with that mirror since he can route both at the same time now. But we'll see.
Oh, there's also a King's Tomb here. Ah, nothing special.
Oh yeah, and the blacksmith stuff also. And we already done the rest of West Dock Road. No one remembers that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, without mirror, the blacksmith is one of those places like you do have access to it, but it's just a little tough to remember just because you have to save and quit and like bring them all the way around again. So we got a sick kid check. Which if like lumberjacks had a bottle, or blacksmiths had a bottle, this could be flute. Not gonna be this time, just a red rupee, but yeah. If that was flute, that would have been a very interesting sequence broken flute.
So we'll have 2 items to go mode, 1 item in very limited locations, and the other can be anywhere. So for the 10-year, he wants to find a bow before mirror, bow before flute. Oh, here.
There we go. Flute finally acquired in Peg Cave.
Which puts everything he do back in sequence. So now where he goes.
Activate the flute, and after that, perhaps taking a visit to Meyer. It'll be good to know what the medallion is for that dungeon, as well as getting a few checks in there. So Gemini cleared out Ice Palace. Must have had no trouble with that cold stare fight, because I just looked over a little earlier and just saw the crystal falling down, and that's all I saw of the boss room.
So this race is really full of orphaned lake locations. We'll see. We'll see what happens next.
Xirtanul going for that Meyer play. Gonna see what's in that shed, and we could find out if we're actually still a quake away from go mode. And that's ether, so nope.
Although it's getting more and more likely that the ball is behind the mirror, which gives Gemini a big edge.
Yeah, and with Gemini in the Kakariko Village of Outcast location, decent chance they'll be grabbing their flute here pretty soon.
Yeah, with that mirror, they will incentivize him to do the blacksmith stuff, and Pekka is just there with that.
So Misery Mine here is a pretty big dungeon with a decent amount of chests, but in the end it's actually only got 2 items that aren't maps, keys, and stuff like that. So a lot of locked doors here. So we'll see how fast we find those items as Xirtanul heads through. Gemini getting 300 rupees for bringing the blacksmith back home. And we got ourselves a fetch quest with the mushroom in Misery Mire. So Gemini taking the time to take this purple chest back. We'll see if it ends up being something big, but if not, it's something that Xirtanul cannot do, and it could be a way for him to get some time back. It's very unique to see like how these routes are so different just because Gemini's gotten that mirror from T-Rot.
And it's also pretty safe to say that Gemini is a little ahead with that T-Rot crystal already done, because even Go mode T-Rot takes quite some time.
Indeed. And if we do find out that Bo is mirror locked in some fashion, that further puts Gemini's lead quite a ways away from Xirtanul. Gemini's going to be happy to find that Quake, because at this point now, they know that no matter what medallions we need, which we know we don't need Quake, Gemini does not yet, but now having all 3 medallions, at least won't have to worry about missing one.
Yep, he's going to cash in that shovel. Also behind flute, but we have the flute now.
And xirtanul still looking for that second item, having to check the big chest and another. Oh, I like what they're doing. They just drained all their magic. They're about to do some fake powder to turn this anti-fairy into a fairy.
Nice, quick thinking on his mind.
And we don't even get to find out what the item is in this dungeon until we get back to the boss. Tablet giving Gemini a heart container there.
Missing the powders.
And there's that magic refill just to bring the magic meter right back to the top for xirtanul. Full health, full magic, definitely in a really good spot heading down to the basement.
Yep. Very nice, quick thinking plays from Daniel's spot. He just got a mushroom.
And here's a spot Gemini can check in the mire area while xirtanul cannot. Checkerboard cave. Just a heart piece, so nothing special. Looks like Gemini is about to be hot on xirtanul's heels heading into mire now.
So for now mirror lock location, we still have Catfish and Zora, and with mirror lock location we have the swap pass, right?
That sounds right to me. I'm running through everything else real quick. Yeah, at this point Gemini definitely has checked a lot of those mirror locked spots. There's what about Mimic Cave up halfway up Turtle Rock or halfway down Turtle Rock though?
Oh, that's one mirror location they'll see Gemini comes back to.
If that's where our bow is, that makes for a crazy race because Gemini's already done Turtle Rock, but Mirror was past Mimic Cave in there, so it would be interesting to see if he would head there before xirtanul opts to check Mimic Cave first. Mirror, like finding Mirror on Laserbird is definitely a rough situation because you're so close to Mimic Cave, but you want to beat the dungeon. But once you beat the dungeon, suddenly Mimic Cave feels so far away.
Looks like we're not seeing Catfish nor Zora for quite a while because Turtle is up to Turtle Rock and East Death Mountain, Dark Death Mountain.
It's gonna be crazy if the if Bo ends up being at like Catfish or Zora, and they could have just had the bow all along and just ignored it for the first like 80% of this run. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but still.
Oh, yeah, Chet brings a good point for Meyer as our second 5-6, so he can do Pyramid Fairy after this. And it's route really nicely into Catfish.
That's very true. That'd be interesting if we see that happen. I forgot that xirtanul hasn't been to all these dark Eastern Death Mountain locations. I was wondering, he took the time to open it and then just pieces out. What's with that? But nah, it's got a couple of overworld chests to check first.
Yep, if you want to go into Turtle with some mirror, you have to use that portal, so and open it before checking these.
The good news for xirtanul, if they choose to commit to going into Turtle Rock while they're up here, though, is since they won't be go-moding Turtle Rock, they will likely find their silver arrows.
At this point, you're here if you clear Turtle Rock, so he will get his silver.
Now, honestly, I had a feeling there was at least a slight chance that xirtanul might just open T-Rock and leave, just because they want to, like, Turtle Rock is a huge time commitment, but looks like, yeah, they're going to go in, which probably is the better option from where they are at this point.
A good picture spot from Gemini. Claiming his 6th crystal. Still looking for that bow.
And is this that Pyramid Fairy check we were thinking might be?
Yeah, I think it will be. After this, you might see fake powder, then into mushroom. Turn in.
The other thing that might be in the back of Gemini's mind potentially is considering doing a swamp dip. It's a huge dungeon to have to commit to, but there's 6 items in there, so it could be something. Pyramid Fairy with a big 20 and a heart piece, so the hunt for bow continues. It looks like it might finally be time for Catfish and Zora on Gemini's side here. Or possibly stopping at Mushroom first. Opting to not keep that mushroom to fake powder is a little interesting. I mean, fake powder is out of logic, so if the powder shows up elsewhere, they can check it. But it was an interesting thing to think about that didn't just the fact that he didn't do it. Now we're finally coming up on Catfish here. And on xirtanul's side, we might see what would be a pretty unique choice would be if they get that mirror to instantly bring it back, like mirror themselves back to the big chest to get the Mimic Cave spot. Not just 50 rupees at Catfish. But if they do that and the bow is at Mimic Cave, that is huge.
Yep. And I think xirtanul can leave the portal there and beat Eastern with that. Can he?
I mean, he could. Oh, wait. Wait, what do you mean? Sorry.
I mean, leave the portal near the light world Turtle Rock, and flew to Eastern Beatlet and jump back through the portal.
Oh, interesting if they xirtanul opt to die instead of mirror, but it looks like they'll get into Mimic Cave. I mean, while they're here, if they're halfway through Turtle Rock, I think they might as well beat Turtle Rock first, given that it's a crystal. Because if they leave, they'd have to like climb through the entire dungeon all over again, right?
Yeah, good point. It's just a fancy way of routing, not really practical, I guess.
It'd be fun though to just like grab the bow and then just fly away and then come back. It's all for naught though, just a bomb capacity upgrade.
Looks like Gemini is going to give a lot of his time back deep in pod. But to be fair, it's Eastern pod of Swamp at this point. That pod could lucky out very early, so I can see why he's going to do this first.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, given that Gemini is in pod without the bow, that means that I looked away. Did you see what Zora had?
Actually, I'm not quite sure. I was watching Mimic Cave at the moment.
That's fine. It wasn't anything too special for sure, but yeah, I'm wondering though, does that just leave Swamp as our last place, or is there anywhere else we can still look for it?
And Graveyard Ledge, for whatever reason, it's not checked.
I just know Gemini's already checked a decent amount of mirror locations, so running out of possibilities. Looks like chat's saying it was just a hard piece on Zora. Okay.
Oh, Gemini getting the news that his pod is not Bollock, and he will go deeper.
Yeah, so there's really no point in sequence breaking through the bow locked area at this point, because we know Bow's not going to be there.
Yep.
So these runners have a lot of health, but the entire time they still only have green mail, which is very interesting because even when you have a lot of health, if you just have green mail, the Dark World can drain your health quickly if you're not too careful.
Yep, we know there's a mail on Spectral Rock, but neither one is getting that just yet.
You think there's a chance when they finally head up into Ganon's tower, perhaps they go via Spectacle Rock and grab that blue mail?
Maybe a little detour to... Can we do that? Think
You would like
Ganon's tower through Spectral Rock?
Well, you would like mirror onto Spectacle Rock and then go into the light, like, so you go into the Dark World, mirror onto Spectacle Rock, and then you'd like run to the right and go into the Dark World from T-Rock.
I forgot about that. Maybe. I'm not sure if that's going to be faster, but with blue mail into the mix, I would do that actually.
Alright, so xirtanul now has mirror, has a whole lot of like one-off locations to check. Let's see where they opt to go though. Gonna grab that shovel first. Meanwhile, Gemini looks like they might be making that play towards Swamp Palace here.
Yep. Gemini has a lot more overworld done, so we'll see what the Teddy will do next. But then they're still not going to do Spiral.
That might be because they forgot about it, I don't know. But heading into the Dark World here, there's a number of directions xirtanul could go from here. Swamp is probably the biggest payout out of all of them, but we'll see which one they go for.
Yep. I think that star is going straight into Swamp as well. Or maybe Bumble's tablet first.
Quick tablet check first, at least. There's our bow! First chest in Swamp. Second technically, but you know, first one that's not a key.
Yep. So at 1 hour 33 minutes 29 seconds, Gemini enters go mode.
Oh, and xirtanul doing some overworld places that were originally mirror locked. He's got to head back to Swamp soon.
I mean, he starts there. I don't see why he wouldn't go back to Swamp. Unless
the only
you
thing
go
that
up
might pull him away is that big bomb.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping they're thinking there's 6 items in Swamp. It's got to be something. I'm just hoping that's what xirtanul's thinking. Like, I do a couple of these quick one-offs around the area and then come back. We'll see though. He's heading up. Looks like a big bomb.
Yeah, no reason not to do it for him. We know what's there, but he doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. I'm gonna say, like, I don't blame him for the plays he's making now. It's just one of those times as a commentator where it's rough to watch because they're so close to where they need to be, and like they're making really a lot of the right plays. It's just this seed, it's not paying off.
Quicksilver arrows, armor is down, he got his 7th crystal. Also, this is not speed gaming, but we still would like to play the Against Tower big key game. So get your guesses in. There are 22 item locations that can have the big key. Where do you think it will be?
You have a personal favorite spot you tend to guess?
I usually just guess randomly. This time I'm feeling like 12.
Sounds like a fun number. I always hope for the bonk torch myself, which if I have to give it a number, that would most likely be 3 unless there's a right side gamble or a crazy gamble going for tile room. But yeah, so I'm always hoping to see it on bonk torch. xirtanul stocking up on a blue potion there, and it looks like we're seeing that routing we were talking about. Gemini gonna go ahead, grab that blue mail on their way up to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, you want some protection against tower. Looks like this is the swamp dip we're looking for. So it's going to be like 4 minutes behind entering go mode, or maybe 5.
Yeah, we have like a front of swamp dip plus an Eastern Palace go mode in between these runners. Alright, and here goes Gemini checking these first 2 chests on the right. Number 1's going to be a small key. Number 2, a bee in a bottle. And with that key, going to go ahead and go for that right side.
xirtanul just entered go mode.
And xirtanul wastes no time beelining it straight to Eastern Palace here.
Yep, it's a few minutes behind, but things can happen. We don't wish loss on runners.
Number 3 is half magic, 4 is a piece of heart, 5 is a compass, and 6 is a 10 bomb upgrade. Taking the time to grab that extra key, always good to have as you head to the left side as well as up towards the top of Ganon's Tower here. Item number 7 on the torch is a small key. So no bonk torch today.
And Bob will be his usual self today instead of his glitch counterpart.
Sprite pouch, number 8, number 9, 50 rupees, 10 is a small key, and 11 is going to be open to find 5 arrow upgrade.
Yeah, powder is one of those better finds here in Ganon's Tower. You can refill health on any players. Especially on upstairs, you can enter Again 2-5 with near full health with that.
For sure, and that number 12 was a small key in that fire bar room. So number 13 past the fire snakes is 3 bombs. Gemini is dropping a whole bunch of bombs along the way here.
There's go ahead.
Let's say in random room 14 we got a 5 bomb upgrade, 15 is a map, 16 is 3 more bombs, and 17 is a red rupee.
So I was thinking, in non-major glitches, you want to run out of bombs before modern 2, right? So that automatically manages you to hook shot, saving a little bit of time.
We can see xirtanul taking the time to get that blue mail as well. As we get Bob's chest, number 18, gonna be... You can see it, I think.
It's a shield.
It was a shield, alright. So, heading down to the Armos on ice. $19 bomb upgrade, 20 piece of heart, 21 is our big key today. I was so afraid we were about to see a tile room.
Yeah. So the tunnel is going to faster if the right side all the way or left side all the way before going right side, but not enough to get his lead back just yet. Check on their tile room. Come on, we have already have that in here, remember?
So true. xirtanul going right side as well would be a unique play, but it is possible for them to commit to a full right side and head to Armos without even seeing left side. Meanwhile, Gemini making their way through the gauntlet. That room went pretty nicely. A quick laser shot to the face, but he still shakes it off and just makes their way over towards Land Molus.
Yep.
Very healthy seed here as we see Gemini's got 18 hearts and xirtanul's got 17, so a lot of health. And it wasn't until heading into Ganon's tower that we saw blue mail.
That looks like Xirtanul is going to find his big key on the 1921 as well. I'm not gonna save time here.
Little hiccup there, but Gemini still gets the quadra kill on those whiz robes. Never found that bug net, so I'm curious where it was hiding or if there's any chance we might see it in these last few chests.
No despawn on Gemini's side, so it's good through Aga too.
Yeah, and opting to skip those 2 chests in the mini Helmosaur room. There's not too much that would benefit them. Maybe the Butter Sword, but even then, it doesn't save you too much time on Ganon over the Tempered Sword.
The only quote-unquote beneficial item they can find is bug net. Oh yeah, he's checking none of that.
Alright, time to pull out your protractors because it's Aghanim time.
Oh, that's a triple, isn't it?
Yep, that is a great start for Gemini.
Not getting a good pattern for the last two cycles. He's 5 of 6.
Takes him down with a 3-1-1-1. I'd be happy with that myself. And it's time for Armos on Ice's encore performance over on xirtanul's side here.
With temperature in these 12 slashes on first phase 1 and phase 2, and he's spamming those right now, even face tanking the fire bats. He's through to the third phase.
Gemini missing a torch glitch, but with silvers, not even that big of a deal.
Yep. And that's 4 arrows. Gemini is down.
And get your GGs in chat for Gemini.
With an official SRT time of 1 hour 48 minutes and 38 seconds. Looks like it's in the waiting room. Shall we get him in?
Hello, Gemini. GG.
GG. That was one hell of a scene.
Oh yeah, it definitely was a really interesting one to watch.
And it was really annoying to play. Usually that's how it works out.
Yeah. It sure is. So overall, how you feeling now coming out of that seed?
As soon as I found the bow, I was 99% sure I was going to lose. That's pretty much how I feel. I did a bunch of stuff that I didn't have to do, like Skullwoods. Pretty much had 2, I think, overworld locations before I went to Swamp. So it was as late as I could make it. And the only way I make up that time is if my opponent did something similar, and maybe I just did it quicker. We did some chatting afterwards before this, because you guys are 15 minutes behind, so I'm not going to spoil any of it. I'll let my opponent go over that.
Yeah, you guys really did everything similar. Pod plays, Skull was playing. You guys both did that.
It was interesting to see how much earlier you got the mirror compared to xirtanul, because they didn't go to T-Rock for a while, whereas you had it and you were actually checking a decent amount of mirror overworld locations for a while. Whereas like xirtanul never went to Checkerboard. I don't even know if either of you went to Graveyard Ledge at all, but yeah, it was just like, since they got the mirror like not too long after you knew where the bow was, like it was pretty close overall. Like if xirtanul went straight to Swamp instead of checking some overworld locations like the Big Bomb and some mirror spots, it would have been a ridiculous race. It would have been really close and down to the wire.
Yeah, the problem with the mirror was that I mean, all of Death Mountain was a sequence break at that point, because we found the lamp up there, which means Flute had to be somewhere out there. It wasn't behind anything on Death Mountain. So before I checked any of the mirror locations, I went back and checked all the previous locations to try to find the Flute.
Right, we were having a talk about that, like just the fact that you were finding a decent amount of nice things, including that lamp on Death Mountain. So, like, how hard is it for you to keep track of like knowing what is in logic, what isn't in logic, and like where can the Flute be at this point and stuff like that?
It depends. I mean, at that point, it was quite easy, but then I found the myths, and that made it more annoying. I mean, at some point, I don't know if you remember, but at some point I went to Pod, thinking, well, it has to be here. But then I realized, well, myths unlocked a few other locations, and I would rather not dip Pod, so I went and did Ice Palace and whatnot afterwards instead.
Yeah, we saw that.
And how are you feeling with way back when, probably 2 hours ago at this point, getting bombs from Uncle? I know that's not always a fun item to deal with for escape, so how did you feel when you saw those?
We had bombs in our previous race that we did just before this, so I was kind of warmed up.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know anytime I see those bombs over Link's head at the very start, I get a little terrified. So that's why I like being in the commentator's seat, watching other runners do it and showing me how it's done, because you guys made it through pretty nicely.
At first I thought maybe I was playing the wrong seed by mistake, because we had a heart in Link's house chest in our previous game as well. And I thought, there's no way we're getting bombs, right? And then we got bombs.
Wow.
That's funny, a little bit of deja vu going on there on your races.
xirtanul is on the third phase of Ganon fight. He's going to be finishing very quickly as well. So when you find those myths, do you think you are behind because it's there all along on the pyramid?
Not really. I think that area in general was kind of an, like, you didn't really want to go there because you had so many better locations to go. So I feel like even if my opponent went there like immediately, especially where considering where the Flute was, I don't think you would beeline for the Smith chain afterwards. And there's also the mirror part, like, right, because my opponent may not have done Turtle Rock in the same sense that I did, so I might have the mirror earlier, which means I can do the Smith chain in a better way. And if you don't have the mirror at that point, you might be reluctant to do that area, including the hammer pegs. So I wasn't that worried, to be honest.
Very interesting is it did only the hammer peg in that area, and the Nether just finished with an official SRT time of 1 hour 54 minutes and 52 seconds. Let's bring him in as well. Hey, GG on the race. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Xirtanul, GG getting through that sea. That was quite a doozy to watch.
If you're trying to speak, we can't hear you, by the way.
Alright, so sounds like just for now, Xirtanul's trying to look into it, but having a little bit of mic issues for now. While we wait, though, at this point, so with that second win, Gemini, you're on to the next round of the tournament. So how you feeling with that?
I'm really scared because my opponent is PKR.
I'm sure that that round should be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I haven't raced that much with PKR, but the races I've seen of her, she has the ability to do things that I just wouldn't be able to think about.
So do you have any sort of like ways you're gonna have to change things up going into the next round, like things that like, oh, I gotta gamble a little more because if not I don't stand a chance or anything like that? Or are you just gonna kind of go in just how you play and see how it is?
Honestly, depending on, well, it depends on how much you want to work at it. Like, maybe check out how my opponent plays tournament races, because I've only seen her play bigger races, which means you play different in big races for sure. I play a lot more conservative in a one-on-one setting. I imagine most people do. So I don't think I would go that crazy, but yeah, the more difficult I perceive my opponent to be, the more risks I'll take.
It looks like the tunnel is in the room again. But we're still not hearing you.
So you mentioned that your first run, for this best 2 of 3, was very like similar to this one. I don't think I caught that first race. Like, how like was the first one like a quicker seed, or was this the faster seed of the two?
The first one was definitely quicker. It was a very pleasant seed in that it gave you. It didn't troll you, really. It required you to go into all 3 pendant dungeons, so it wasn't a jet seed. But because of the fact that all 3 pendants were required, it meant like that there's no like gambling. You don't like clear all of Pendant Swamp and you find nothing, that kind of thing. So I feel like the seed played nice. Let's just put it that way. This one, I don't know. This one didn't sit that well with me.
I hear that. Like, as you're saying it played nice, I'm remembering like the scariest thing about this seed. Sure, you got a lot of hearts, but like 90% of the seed, you were in green mail the entire time.
Yeah.
And then the only reason you got blue mail was because on the way up to Ganon's Tower, you stopped on Spectacle Rock to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I'm happy to sacrifice a few seconds just to kind of get that extra security.
For sure, yeah. I think it was Xirtanul that took a death to cold stare because just how hard those little puffy clouds hit you. So just seeing how your movement has to be just even more particular to avoid getting hit and stuff is insane to watch. And like speaking of that, like Mothula being another fight like that can just destroy you if you're not careful. Both of you like handily defeated him, which was really cool to see.
I'll have to say, I didn't expect dying in Turtle Rock. That took me by complete surprise.
Speaking of Turtle Rock, you didn't check the Mimic Cave. Were you worried about that?
Kind of. At that point, I just resigned that if it's a Mimic Cave and my opponent checks Mimic Cave, so be it. It's like every seed that I play, I have like a risk allocation that I have. Like I can like skip so and so many chests, but I can't skip too many. And that was one of the ones that I just wrote off at that time. It's like I'm never going back there. That chest may as well not exist.
Let's see. I can hear you guys now. Can you guys hear me?
There you go. We can hear you.
Great.
GG, buddy.
Good game, man.
Yeah, how you feeling after that seed?
Well, let's just say that every single risk I took just didn't pay off. At least it felt like that. And when I died to cold, it was just to tip me over, to take even more risks that just backfired as well. And then in the end, I was just keep on grinding through all the dungeons. And then I found Mirror, and I was like, well, it can't be in Swamp now, can it? So I decided to do like every single overworld location, and well, that apparently was another wrong choice.
Yeah, had you gone straight to Swamp, like rather than doing the Pyramid Ferry and Shovel Spot and all that, it actually would have been a really close race. But overall, there were more spots you could have checked. We were afraid you were going to maybe like veer off the Checkerboard Cave or something and all that. But yeah, overall, like all things considered, ended up being a pretty close race and pretty intense to watch. So GG's for that for sure. I'm curious.
Go
ahead.
I was actually happy as well with the Ice Rod location because last seed I played against the Gemini, the Ice Rod trolled me because I made one decision to not go into Skullwoods, and well, Mothula had the Ice Rod, which kind of cost me like 40 minutes to find. And this time I had it extremely early.
Yeah, it was in its vanilla spot, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So seed kind of throwing you a bone there.
I was actually kind of hoping that you would kind of take the experience you had with Skullwoods into this game and go clear Skullwoods here as well, because I cleared Skullwoods and there was absolutely nothing. So I thought, well, hopefully he clears it as well.
Yeah, I did it as well. I went Skullwoods first to check for items, only found one. Then I went Thiefstone, found Fire Rod, went back into Skullwoods. But yeah, I mean, this seed Skullwoods were just absolutely a bust. Even the Green Pendant only giving 3 bombs, if I remember.
Yeah, it was something like that. I remember it wasn't anything too special, which is rough because Skullwoods can feel like one of those places that, you know, I want to go to because it might not take too long, but in the end, it's like, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of felt like he would do Skullwoods as well, especially since last seed had the Ice Rod right there, so it was bound to have something important, which it kind of didn't. But then I think I dove into Pod, didn't find anything, dove into, I think, basically every single dungeon this seed.
Right. So, just curious, Xirtanul, how did you feel with that? Like, so both of you did that sequence break up Death Mountain and found that lamp up there. So that gave you the information that Flute had like very limited locations it could be at. How did it feel kind of handling like how much progress you made, how many more places became accessible, while all the time having to keep in the back of your mind, well, this is technically a sequence break. I'm not going to find the flute here. Like, was that a tough to juggle in your brain, or was that like a easy peasy kind of thing for you?
Actually, it was kind of easy because I knew it could only be in the bottom part of Light or Dark Worlds. So that's actually why I went back into Ice Palace with the limited amount of gear and no potions. Because I knew Ice Rod had to be either there or the Smith's road right there. But that was actually really nice information. But I heard from Gemini that his sequence broke as soon as he had the mitts, so he could also do full T-Rock, which was kind of a big advantage as well.
No. I sequence broke before mitts.
Ah, okay, yeah. So basically, you only felt lamp as well.
Yeah, it was interesting because when Gemini went up, they did not have a fire source, so they were sequence breaking up Death Mountain, thinking, well, I can check a lot of spots, but not necessarily do Hera. And then it's like, well, there's the lamp. Never mind. Now I can do Hera for sure.
Yeah, I had the same. I went up without a lamp or fire rod.
Oh, I got him flipped. Okay, gotcha. My bad.
But I was just going up there. I mean, it was 6 locations with Paradox Cave, and then, well, the one location I still don't know what's in there, the Spiral Cave. And
it was crap.
Basically, I had a lot of stuff to check up there. And when I found the fire rod, all the fire source, I was happy that basement was required.
Gotcha. Well, you guys put on a great show. Any sort of final thoughts you have, like either for the tournament, for this seed in particular, just anything? Any thoughts in general?
Nah, not really. Maybe that I just should have practiced more, because 8 weeks of doing nothing while you guys have the Swiss stage, that kind of did me in, because I didn't really know what to expect of this of this version. But I think Gemini, as far as I've seen, you've only been running for 7 months. And I think time-wise and race-wise, you're a really good runner. So congrats on the win.
Well, we both made it to brackets, so that's a hurdle in its own right.
Okay, let's wrap it up here. GG to both runners again. If you like the race you're seeing, don't forget to follow the both runners. And if you want to watch more ALTTP Randomizer race, there's ALTTP Randomizer Network through 4. We're on 2 right now. And if you want tournaments in general, there's Speed Gaming Network, that's Speed Gaming to Speed Gaming 6. They also host Randomizers race as well. Looking at schedule, starting in 10. Starting 14 minutes ago at 6:30, we have Oh Hey David versus Dow TNB. And 10 minutes ago on Speed Gaming, we have Area versus JSR. And in 20 minutes on Speed Gaming 2, we have Andy Rondek Drake versus Andy. In Speed Gaming 5, we have Wolfie versus I'm the Schwartz. So if you want to randomize the race, that's the places we go.
Sounds good. So with that, yeah, thanks everyone for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed this race. I have been Xander Robotnik.
And I've been Plastic, and shout out to our race streamer, No Name 4444 and Tracker Space Cowboy, and see you next race.
Bye everybody.